December 17th, 1904, 0600 hours, Elsenborn Ridge, Belgium. Staff Sergeant Richard McKee, 27 years old, from Pennsylvania, crouches in a frozen foxhole, watching German infantry advance through morning fog 400 yards ahead. McKee commands a squad in Company E, 2nd Battalion, 23rd Infantry Regiment, 2nd Infantry Division, the Indian Head Division, veteran of North Africa, Sicily, Normandy, and now Belgium. His division arrived at Elsenborn Ridge yesterday, December 16th, after being rushed north from positions 15 miles south. The reason? German forces have launched a massive offensive through the Ardennes forest. 3 German armies, 250,000 soldiers, are attacking on a 60-mile front, attempting to break through American lines, capture Antwerp, and split the Allied armies. It's Hitler's last major offensive of the war, Operation Wacht am Rhein, Watch on the Rhine, and everything depends on speed. German armor must reach the Meuse River within 48 hours, then Antwerp within a week. But there's a problem for the Germans: geography. The Ardennes terrain creates natural corridors, roads that German armor must use because tanks can't cross dense forest or steep hills. The northern corridor runs through the town of Malmedy toward Liège, and Malmedy's approach is dominated by Elsenborn Ridge, a 2,000-foot elevation providing observation and fields of fire over the entire northern approach. Whoever controls Elsenborn Ridge controls the northern corridor. If Germans take the ridge, their armor flows toward Liège unimpeded. If Americans hold the ridge, German armor is channeled into narrow valleys where it can be destroyed. McKee's division, along with the 99th Infantry Division, has been given the mission: hold Elsenborn Ridge at all costs. No retreat, no surrender. Hold for 5 days until reinforcements arrive. The Germans attacking McKee's position include the 12th SS Panzer Division, Hitlerjugend, Hitler Youth, 1st S Panzer Division, Leibstandarte Adolf Hitler, 3rd Panzergrenadier Division, 12th Volksgrenadier Division, total approximately 38,000 soldiers, 400 tanks and assault guns, 500 plus artillery pieces. McKee's defenders, 4,500 soldiers, no tanks, all armor withdrawn to create mobile reserve, limited artillery ammunition. The odds are 8-1. And in 30 seconds, McKee is going to discover whether American soldiers can hold against those odds. Because the German infantry he's watching, 150 soldiers advancing in company formation, are about to enter his unit's kill zone, and McKee's orders are clear: let them come close, then destroy them. To understand why Elsenborn Ridge matters, we need to understand Hitler's strategic desperation in December 1904. By late 1904, Germany is losing on all fronts. Eastern Front. Soviet forces have liberated Eastern Europe and are approaching Germany's borders. Western Front. American and British forces have liberated France and are positioned along Germany's western border. Italy. Allied forces have broken through German defensive lines. Air war. American and British bombers are systematically destroying German industry. Germany cannot win a long war of attrition. Resources are dwindling, manpower is exhausted, and Allied production overwhelms German capacity. Hitler's solution? One massive offensive that splits the Western Allies, captures their main supply port, Antwerp, and forces Britain and America to negotiate rather than continuing the war. The plan, Operation Wacht am Rhein, is ambitious. Phase 1, Days 1-2. Break through weak American defenses in Ardennes. Advance 60 miles to Meuse River. Phase 2, Days 3-5. Cross Meuse, advance another 60 miles to Antwerp. Phase 3, Days 6-10. Defend captured territory, negotiate with Western Allies from position of strength. The plan requires several conditions. Condition 1, bad weather to ground Allied aircraft. Germany can't advance if American P-47s and British Typhoons are attacking from the air. Condition 2, surprise to prevent Americans from reinforcing weak sectors before breakthrough occurs. Condition 3, speed to reach Meuse before Americans organize counterattack. Condition 4, seizing road networks because German armor needs paved roads to maintain advanced speed. The Ardennes terrain prevents off-road movement. Hitler chooses December 16th for the attack. Weather forecast predicts fog and low clouds for several days, grounding Allied aircraft. The German attack achieves complete surprise. American commanders don't expect a major offensive in winter through the difficult Ardennes terrain. Initial German success is dramatic. First 24 hours, German forces penetrate 15 to 20 miles, creating a bulge in American lines, giving the battle its English name, Battle of the Bulge. First 48 hours, some German units advance 30 miles, approaching critical road junctions. But the German plan has a fatal flaw. It depends on seizing specific road networks quickly, and those road networks are protected by terrain features like Elsenborn Ridge. The 99th Infantry Division arrived in the Ardennes in November 1944, assigned to a quiet sector where new divisions could gain experience without heavy combat. The 99th had never been in combat. Average age, 19 years old. Average time in Army, 8 months. They were green troops, inexperienced, untested, nervous. On December 16, 1944, the 99th Infantry Division was holding a 20-mile front with 14,000 soldiers. That's 700 soldiers per mile, half the density recommended by military doctrine. The 99th was stretched thin because American commanders believed the Ardennes was quiet and unlikely to see major action. At 05:30 hours, December 16th, that assumption proved catastrophically wrong. German artillery opened fire, the largest artillery bombardment on the Western Front since D-Day. For 90 minutes, over 600 German guns fired on American positions. Then, at 0700 hours, German infantry and armor attacked. The 99th Division's positions were overrun in multiple sectors. Some companies were surrounded and destroyed. Some battalions retreated in disorder, but some units, through luck, leadership, or terrain advantage, held. One of those units was the 99th Division's 395th Infantry Regiment, holding positions near the village of Hofen. Lieutenant Colonel McClernand Butler commanded the 395th. He was an experienced officer despite his unit being green. When German forces attacked his regiment's positions, Butler made a critical decision. Don't retreat, hold the high ground, make the Germans pay for every yard. His regiment held for 2 days, December 16th, 17, suffering heavy casualties but preventing German breakthrough. That 2-day delay gave American commanders time to recognize the scale of the German offensive and begin moving reinforcements. One of those reinforcements, the 2nd Infantry Division, veterans of multiple campaigns, ordered to Elsenborn Ridge on December 16th. The 2nd Division arrived December 17th and established defensive positions alongside the remnants of the 99th Division. Together, veterans and green troops, they would hold Elsenborn Ridge. December 17th, 1944. So 600 hours. Sergeant McKee watches German infantry advancing through fog. The Germans are moving in assault formation. 3 companies in line, approximately 450 soldiers total, supported by self-propelled guns. They're advancing toward McKee's battalion's defensive line, a position stretching 1,000 yards along the ridgeline. McKee's battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel, has positioned his forces according to doctrine. Front line, rifle companies in prepared positions, foxholes, machine gun nests, covering all approaches. Support, mortars and artillery pre-registered on likely German assembly areas and approach routes. Reserve, 1 rifle company held back to counterattack if Germans breach the line. The plan is simple. Let Germans advance into kill zone, then destroy them with concentrated fire. At 06:15 hours, the Germans reach 300 yards from American positions, the maximum effective range for rifle fire. Colonel Daniel gives the order, open fire. Instantly, the ridgeline erupts with gunfire. M1 Garand rifles, 500 rifles firing semi-automatically, each capable of 40-50 aim shots per minute. M9 style machine guns, 20 machine guns firing 400-500 rounds per minute each, creating overlapping fields of fire. 60mm mortars, 12 mortars dropping shells on German assembly areas, indirect fire that Germans can't suppress. The effect is devastating. German infantry, advancing across open ground with no cover, are cut down by concentrated fire. Some Germans dive into shell craters for cover. Others attempt to retreat. A few reach within 100 yards before being killed. Within 10 minutes, the German attack is broken. Approximately 50 Germans are dead or wounded. The survivors retreat back into the forest. McKee's unit suffered 3 casualties, 1 killed, 2 wounded. This pattern repeats throughout December 17th. German forces attack, American forces repel them with superior firepower from defensive positions. But the Germans keep attacking. They have no choice. They must break through to maintain their offensive schedule. December 18th, D+2. German forces commit armor, Panzer IVs and Panthers attempting to break American defenses through direct assault. But tanks advancing uphill against prepared defenses are vulnerable. American anti-tank guns, 57mm and 3-inch, positioned on the ridge have clear fields of fire down the slope. They destroy 18 German tanks on December 18th alone. The tank wrecks block approach routes, making subsequent attacks even more difficult. December 19th, D+3, the 12th SS Panzer Division. Hitlerjugend, one of Germany's most elite units, launches coordinated assault with infantry, armor, and artillery support. The attack begins with 90-minute artillery bombardment, attempting to suppress American defenses. Then German infantry and tanks attack simultaneously from 3 directions. It's the most dangerous attack yet, coordinated, professional, executed by experienced troops. But American defenders hold. The artillery bombardment kills 45 Americans and wounds 120, but doesn't break the defensive line. When German forces attack, they face the same problem, advancing uphill against entrenched defenders with superior fields of fire. The attack fails with heavy German casualties. December 20th, D+4. German attacks continue but with decreasing intensity. The Germans are running out of time. Their offensive schedule called for reaching the Meuse River by December 18th. It's now December 20th, and they haven't even broken through the first defensive line. December 21st, D+5. German forces make final major assault on Elsenborn Ridge. They commit their last reserves, Volksgrenadier divisions that have been held back. The attack achieves nothing. American defenses are too strong, German forces too depleted. By evening of December 21st, German commanders acknowledge failure. Elsenborn Ridge cannot be taken. The northern route to Liège and Antwerp is blocked. The entire northern thrust of the German offensive has failed. While the 2nd and 99th Infantry Divisions fought at Elsenborn Ridge, another critical action occurred to the south. Kampfgruppe Peiper, an elite SS battle group commanded by Obersturmbannführer Joachim Peiper, was the spearhead of the German northern thrust. Peiper's mission: advance west at maximum speed, seize bridges over the Meuse River, and open the route to Antwerp. Peiper's force consisted of 4,000 soldiers, SS Panzer Grenadiers, 100+ tanks, Panthers, King Tigers, self-propelled artillery, engineers. On December 17th, Peiper's forces advanced rapidly, covering 30 miles, destroying isolated American units, and creating panic in American rear areas. But Peiper faced a critical problem: fuel shortage. German planners had allocated limited fuel for the offensive, expecting to capture American fuel depots along the way. When American forces denied Peiper access to fuel depots by defending or destroying them, Peiper's tanks began running out of fuel. By December 19th, Peiper was stalled near Stoumont, out of fuel, surrounded by American forces, and unable to advance. And one reason Peiper couldn't get reinforcements or fuel: the northern route through Elsenborn Ridge was blocked. If Elsenborn had fallen, German supply convoys could have used the northern roads to resupply Peiper. But because Elsenborn held, Peiper's forces were isolated. On December 23rd, Peiper abandoned his vehicles and retreated on foot with his surviving soldiers. The German offensive spearhead, destroyed not by direct combat, but by being cut off from supplies because Elsenborn Ridge held. The defense of Elsenborn Ridge achieved several critical outcomes. 1. Blocked northern route. German armor couldn't advance toward Liège and Antwerp via the northern corridor. This forced German forces to use southern routes, which were more congested, had worse roads, and were more easily defended. 1. Protected flank. By holding the northern shoulder, American forces prevented Germans from flanking other defensive positions. If Elsenborn had fallen, German forces could have attacked Bastogne, where 101st Airborne was surrounded, from the north, potentially destroying that garrison. 1. Forced German forces into kill zones. Because the northern route was blocked, German armor was channeled into narrow valleys where American artillery and air power when weather cleared, could destroy them more effectively. 1. Demonstrated American defensive capability. The defense proved that even green troops, like the 99th Division, could hold against elite German forces when properly positioned and supported. Final casualties at Elsenborn Ridge. American forces, 2nd and 99th Infantry Divisions. Approximately 5,000 casualties, killed, wounded, missing. Both divisions remained combat effective, held positions throughout 5 days of attacks. German forces, 12th SS Panzer, 1st SS Panzer, 3rd Panzer Grenadier, 12th Volksgrenadier, estimated 15,000, 20,000 casualties, failed to achieve any objectives, forced to abandon northern offensive route. The defense succeeded despite overwhelming German advantages in numbers and armor. Why? Terrain. American forces held high ground with observation and fields of fire over German approaches. Preparation. American engineers had built defensive positions, foxholes, wire obstacles, mines, that channeled German attacks into kill zones. Artillery. American artillery superiority, once ammunition supply improved, allowed defensive fires that broke up German attacks. Leadership. Commanders at all levels, from squad leaders like McKee to division commanders, made correct tactical decisions under pressure. Morale. American soldiers believed they could hold, and that belief became self-fulfilling as they repelled attack after attack. Elsenborn Ridge is one of the Battle of the Bulge's forgotten actions. Most histories focus on Bastogne, 101st Airborne's encirclement and defense, Malmedy massacre, SS war crime, Patton's relief of Bastogne, 3rd Army's dramatic advance. Elsenborn Ridge receives less attention because 1. It was defensive success, not dramatic rescue. Bastogne's story is compelling. Surrounded troops, heroic last stand, dramatic relief. Elsenborn's story is less dramatic. Troops held their positions, Germans attacked and failed. No encirclement or rescue needed. 1. It succeeded too well. Because Elsenborn held, the German northern offensive never developed, making it seem less important than it was. But if Elsenborn had fallen, the entire Battle of the Bulge might have ended differently. 1. 99th Division's reputation. The 99th Division, being green troops, was initially blamed for the German breakthrough on December 16th. Some historians emphasize the 9th's retreats rather than recognizing that elements of the division, like the 395th Regiment, held critical positions. Modern military analysis recognizes Elsenborn's importance. U.S. Army Center of Military History states, "The defense of Elsenborn Ridge was the decisive action of the Battle of the Bulge's northern sector. By holding this position, American forces denied German armor access to the road network needed to reach strategic objectives. Without Elsenborn's defense, the German offensive might have achieved operational success." Sergeant McKee survived Elsenborn Ridge and continued fighting through Germany until war's end. After the war, he returned to Pennsylvania, worked as a steel worker, and rarely spoke about his service. In a 1985 interview for a local newspaper, McKee was asked, "What was your most important contribution to winning the war?" McKee's response, "I held my position at Elsenborn Ridge, that's all. I didn't do anything heroic. I just stayed in my foxhole for 5 days and shot at Germans when they attacked. But I guess that was enough, because we won." That understated response captures the reality of Elsenborn Ridge. No dramatic charges, no last-second rescues, just soldiers doing their jobs, holding positions, firing accurately, refusing to retreat, and by doing so, winning a battle that determined an offensive's outcome. December 17th to 21st, 1904. 5 days on a frozen ridge, 4,500 Americans holding against 38,000 Germans. No retreat, no surrender, just hold the line, and they held. Not because they were superhuman, not because they had superior equipment, but because they occupied the right terrain, were led by competent officers, and refused to break when attacked. Elsenborn Ridge didn't produce Medal of Honor actions or dramatic last stands. It produced something more important, a successful defense that stopped Hitler's best divisions and doomed his last offensive before it truly began. These stories of quiet courage, tactical competence, and battles, won by simply refusing to lose, deserve to be remembered. Subscribe so they never fade into history. Next time, The landing that became a siege, 123 days trapped on a beachhead where German forces nearly pushed the Allies back into the sea.